Henshin Inspection presents Going Ultra! This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Welcome to Going Ultra. Visit mjmunoz.com/GU for notes and links, and don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment to help me grow. Hopefully by the time you're hearing this, I have the audio feed live on Google Podcasts and iTunes, as well as the RSS. So look forward to that. This episode of Going Ultra, I'm going to be discussing Ultraman Z, Episode 5, First Juggling. And except for looking at the comments of the on the video, I wouldn't really know what that means, but I kind of know what it means. But I'm going to be pretty soft on it. I'm going to try to make this a quick review. I'm going to say that I really liked the episode, which is absolutely true. It was a lot of fun. There was some interesting things going on, and seeing the turn of Hibikura to being this quasi-villainous guy, or this villainous guy, is interesting. Probably the most interesting thing to me about it is that he turned to villainy because he's bored, it seems, and that he cloned the Z-Riser. So he has his red Z-Riser clone that he's pulling monsters that were featured in the Absolute Conspiracy. He's pulling their powers into it, making monster metals, kind of by begging and pleading with the darkness to get those powers. And he made it sound like he's been able to wield the powers of darkness before, and like this is a return to form for him. So I find that to be pretty interesting. I don't know exactly what that means. It looks like he was in a previous show, but maybe Orb, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, but that's pretty neat, pretty interesting stuff. But it strikes me as odd that the Z-Riser has been cloned by Hibikura and also by the Scavenger, and I'm kind of interested to see what happens between the two of them. Will they form an alliance? Will they fight against each other? What exactly is going to happen? I don't know. It's, the show's vague about it. It's not being definitive at all. And I'm not bothered by that. It's just, it's kind of interesting that you have two individuals who both are going to be causing trouble for the heroes of the show and going about it by different means. And that's a slightly more complex setup for a story than I'm used to seeing from Tokusatsu. I guess if I think back on Kamen Rider O's or on Lupot, or I can't really think of anything else, although I have heard that Operation Overdrive copied from Bokenger, that there are like 3 different villain factions, and I guess 2, and I haven't seen Bokenger, that's why I'm not calling it up specifically. But in addition to Bokenger, there was Megaforce, the one that got turned into the Angels. There was the 4 different groups of villains, and one guy went from group to group to group as the series proceeded. Anyway, whatever that one was called, with the cards. All I know is they scanned cards into like a big, idol face thing. Anyway, so that's pretty interesting. It's nuanced. I like the fact that there's these multiple villain groups. I don't know what they're going to be doing, but I do find the prospect interesting. So that's that's cool. We'll have to see where that develops. I thought it was really neat that we get this constant switching off between Yuko and Haruki as far as who's going to pilot. Although I did find it kind of strange that they sent out Wyndham instead of Sevenger right away. But I guess the logic is that if Sevenger is an inferior model, then you would send out Wyndham to address all more higher functioning monsters, or you'd send Wyndham out first, because it's a more of a sure bet that you're going to win by using Wyndham than if you use Sevenger. So strategically, you would want to deploy it first, and I thought that was interesting. What I found, more compelling, though, was that after Yuko had been defeated, that Haruki went out and, he broke protocol or whatever Hibikura mentions at the end of the episode, and he did that to, save her, and that, he was able to be kind of crafty and ingenious, and I'm having a hard time remembering now how exactly he got the Z-Riser back, but he did. And, he was cleverly able to do some stuff that really helped her, get out of the frozen cockpit and helped him to be able to free her when Sevenger was done. But gosh, I guess Juggler came back and gave him the Z Riser, didn't he? After he'd copied it. So I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know, because I don't know what Juggler's motives are. I can't really say, or Hibikura's motives, I should say. I can't really say how I find that. Like, if it's kind of frustrating in shows if it's not done well, when the villain lets the hero win or lets them, have their power set back or whatever. But sometimes it makes a lot of sense, and sometimes it's a good thing. So if Juggler's just looking for excitement, I guess I could see if he wants to have a different type of power, to explore that power and utilize it in an interesting and novel way that is, exciting to him. I guess I could see that being part of the appeal of giving the power over to Haruki again. But I guess I don't know. Is he something akin to an Ultra, and that's why he could see the equipment? Because no humans are supposed to be able to see things that are made out of Ultra metals and whatnot. So I would assume that the Z Riser is made out of Ultra metals, not just the carrying case or whatever that Haruki has on his belt. So that's kind of interesting. But I guess if he's a monster or whatever, that would give him a pass, and that would make sense. And it would also make sense as to the fact that he whispered to Haruki in, I think, the second episode, when he was fighting him, to help him get over the issue with the what's it called? To get over the issue with the, what was it? Oh, the invisible monster. Yeah, there was that invisible monster that he helped him, figure out how to fight against and not be, tricked out by it, by him trusting his instincts and trusting his eyes or his ears and his other senses, and not just relying on, his eyes. So anyway, it's more obvious that he knew who he was. He knew he was, the Ultra, or becoming the Ultra, because, there's something different about him, something special about him being, whatever type of alien he is or monster he is. So that's kind of neat. What else? I mean, other than the fact that kind of makes sense of something, I'm not sure exactly what to say. I thought that Z-Lance was pretty cool. I wonder who that Ultra is. Is that Ultraman Noah, who is mentioned in the 7th episode or so of the original series? Who knows? Could have been any number of other Ultras who were passing by and fighting, kaiju or evil aliens on the planet. And just kind of neat. I like that they mentioned Inuit legend or Inuit myth or whatever, and that the lance was found in Alaska. And that's just kind of a fun detail that they're, letting it be so international, letting it be, something that's happening around the world. And there's an American division of, storage as well, that we got exposed to in the other episode. So I'm not sure what else to say. I liked it. It was fun. I'll be curious to see exactly what Juggler does and how he develops as a character and what Hibikura is doing. And I want the scavenger guy to come back in here and not necessarily make things more exciting, but do some cool stuff. Just real quick before I go, there was some really neat stuff. More cool heads-up display stuff we got to see. The kaiju was blasting Yuko, and you get to see it through her screen in Wyndham. And then I thought it was strange at first, the way that Haruki positioned Sevenger as it was running out of battery, with its arm kind of propped up, kneeling, and it was so that he could activate the rocket punch at some point, which I don't know if that was on remote or if it was set by proximity or how that exactly functioned, but that was pretty cool. And I liked how, as the rocket punch went out, it dropped down first, and then the propulsion took over, and it ended up evening out its path and then hitting the target. That was pretty cool. And then the scene where the kaiju, whose name I have written down, Peguila, or Peguila? No, Peguila probably. Peguila makes sense. Anyway, when Peguila was flying around and Z was chasing after him, it was a really cool scene because of the way the camera was positioned at Z's back and watching him fly around and getting to fall. It felt almost like in Iron Man, some of the flying scenes in the first Iron Man movie, how cool those were and how realistic they were. That was a lot of fun. And even there was one scene where Haruki's running around and he's got the camera, I think it's mounted to that AR-15 or whatever he's carrying. and it's pointing up at him as he's running. That was pretty cool. It was a little disorienting. It was very much, shaky cam, but they did a good job with that overall. And I really love all the neat stuff that they're doing. In fact, there was something else really neat that they did, which was when Peguila came into Japan, Tokyo, whatever, and he did an ice blast that knocked over some cars. They did this super cool thing inside of a car. The camera was inside of a car as it got flipped around, and then and Peguila ends up stepping on and crushing that car as well, and it blows up, under the weight of his stomp. And that was super cool. I loved that. I loved that crazy camera work. And it was funny. I was just reading something last night. I guess it was last night. I don't know, last night or yesterday, about Tsuburaya and how. Oh, it was a video. Oh, I'll put a link to the video. I don't remember the guy's name. It's like Nuva something or other. He talks about a bunch of kaiju stuff. Has Godzilla and like some Evangelion stuff on his channel too. Anyway, so he was talking about Shin Ultraman and some other stuff. But anyway, I watched something about kind of like the case for Ultraman, or does Ultraman hold up? Something like that. Like I said, I'll have it linked in the description and over on mgmooners.com. So you're going to have to go ahead and check that out if you want to see it. I'll leave the link in the video description as well. And then, of course, in the show notes for episode 6 of Going Ultra, or Henshin Inspection Presents Going Ultra. So anyway, it was cool. He was talking about how Tsuburaya apparently liked to be kind of playful, and some of the effects would be, bad, because he would do things like for fun. The example he brought up was specifically a horse puppet being used in a scene in something that he did, as opposed to doing a miniature or a toy or like a real horse or whatever, and then like compositing it in or whatever. Like, he was like, hey, let's do a horse puppet. It'll be funny. Let's do it like this. It'll make me laugh. Which is kind of interesting, kind of quirky, and I like that. And I wonder if those quirks carry through, or how much of those quirks carry through into these modern shows. Because like Hebikura at the end of the episode turns to the camera, and there's just some interesting details, interesting things that are done stylistically that I find to be pretty interesting. One last thing before I go is I really liked the fact that Haruki, at one point, he's feeling very much like giving up, but he's hearing Yuko, and she's talking about how she swears she'll save everyone, and how this is her job, and she's going to do her job to the best of her ability. And Haruki talks to Z, I think, like, oh, she's such a professional. Like, I want to be that professional too. And that's what motivates him to keep going, to keep trying. And I thought that was pretty cool. It comes off a little weird, thinking someone's profession is saving people's lives, but then again, I mean, that's what so-called first responders are anyway. So I guess it kind of makes sense, regardless of how you might feel about how complicated that whole thing can be. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting, and I thought it was cool that he's drawing all this inspiration from her. And I like the fact that there's the two pilots, and it does kind of remind me of Evangelion, where the different Eva pilots kind of egged each other on and encouraged each other, and caused each other to step up and perform, to a greater extent than they might have if they were alone. And I think that's really cool. That's something, it feels very fresh and different, even though I'm saying it reminds me of Evangelion. That was in 96, and then in the early 2000s. So that's, almost 20 years ago, if you're just going by Western stuff, or a US release, and it's, over 20 years ago, if you're going by, Japan standards, or the Japan timeline, which makes sense, being that this show is from Japan for a Japanese audience primarily. So, that's all I have to say. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to ask again that you check out mgmooners.com /GU for the show. And like I said, Henshin Inspection Presents, the iTunes and Google podcasts link should be live there as well. And look forward to go ahead and check out my MeWe. There's a link for it in the description and the show notes as well. And you can check it out there. I'm posting some cool GIFs. I'm going to get a GIF of that car flipping and this rocket punch. I did the rocket punch from the last episode too. I made a little GIF and shared it over there, and just in a little Ultraman group, because it's so cool. So anyway, check that out, and check out all my writing, all my work that I'm doing over at mgmooners.com. I would appreciate that. And until next time, folks, take care. I leave you with peace and blessings, and I remind you that you don't have to shout Henshin to be a hero.